Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 24th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, roll, please.
Sure. Mayor Gentry.
Here.
Becky McClure is
Absent.
absent and
Yep.
excused this evening. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a quorum, so move on to the approval of our minutes. We have a couple of these minutes here. We have December 9th. We have our December 23rd special meeting, our January 13th meeting, our January 27th meeting, and then our last meeting at February 10th. Any changes or edits to those minutes? Entertain a motion to approve?
Go ahead. I make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and congratulations, Tanya. You got caught up. I know it's been a lot of work. We're there. Oh, Board of Works. Okay. Well, very good. All right, we'll move on to department head reports. First up will be Police Department, Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 727 calls for service. A total of 18 people were arrested for the following crimes: 5 for operating while intoxicated, 4 were wanted on a warrant, 2 for domestic battery, 2 for possession of meth, 1 for possession of marijuana, 2 for driving while suspended, 1 for HTV, and 1 for theft. In that same time frame, LPD took 45 crash reports. That was during the slick couple of days we had there.
Did 45 or 25?
45 with a
45.
4. Yep. February 24th and 25th, officers Aaron Carlson and Michael Custis will be attending the Scenarios and Tactics for the Field Training Officer course at the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. This course will focus on teaching students how to instruct adults effectively, with an emphasis on considering generational differences. Additionally, they'll be learning how to use specific scenarios with recruits to help prepare them for the practical aspects of their jobs. February 24th and 25th, Kevin Elliott will be attending the Blue Line Interdiction course at the Brownsburg Training Center. The course focuses on criminal interdiction for proactive police officers. It will teach officers how to adopt a disciplined approach to locating, identifying, and seizing narcotics and other illicit contraband. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Chief Morgan. Any questions for the chief from the board? From the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has responded to 116 emergency calls of service, logged 302 training hours, completed 24 commercial commercial inspections. We have participated in 1 TAC meeting and did 2 car seat installs. On February 12th, Deputy Chief Matt Young and Engineer Brandon Beasley performed the final inspection on LFD's new ladder truck. This was done in Ocala, Florida. Delivery is expected in early April, and all firefighters will go through an extensive training and driving program. Currently, firefighter Spencer Kearns is enrolled in Indiana Fire Officer 1. This is an entry-level fire officer course for our firefighters wanting to become a ride-out officer and move up through the rank system. Captain Sam Doherty, Lieutenants Alex Knipp, Noah Rinker, and Chris Perry are currently enrolled in Indiana Fire Officer 2. This state certification class is designed for mid-level officers that are ready to assume a greater responsibility within the department. Today, Deputy Chief Jason Hendricks began the Indiana Fire Chief Executive Training Program. This course is a combination of 3 National Fire Academy courses. Next week, on Tuesday, March 4th, we are closing our pre-application process. We currently have 128 pre-apps. And last Thursday, on February 20th, Captain Jason Adams returned from Indiana Task Force 1. He was deployed to Kentucky to assist with evacuations and rescues due to the flooding. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? The public? Thank you, sir. All right, next will be Parks and Recreation. John Messenger.
Good evening. We took care of a couple snow and ice occurrences over the last 2 weeks. I'll probably try not to use the snow word anymore. Our maintenance crew is finishing up work on the Big Four Trail. We cut it all back. Now we're working bucket truck work. Should be done by the middle of the week. Also, went through some training last week also. Want to thank the utilities for helping us out. It was job site training. Very, very good training that we had from IMPA. We have also hired 2 full-time maintenance openings that we had. They will be starting in early March, and we're real excited to have them. Real good candidates, and I appreciate all the applicants we had. Hope they'll keep us in mind if we have any further openings, but really a couple good guys we have coming on our team. Programs and events, we'd like to congratulate our 2 winners of the Snowman contest. Quincy and Charlie both did a great job. A lot of good snowman out there, and it was really a tough decision. They both have received prizes from the Parks Department. Look forward to that program every year. Our pool party calendar is about booked. We have a couple openings still left. You can visit our website for the open dates that we have available still. Since we'll be starting construction on our Memorial Park pickleball course, not be hosting a spring pickleball league, hoping to host the tournament. Hopefully they'll be out of there before July and we'll get something going. I think they're doing the locates tomorrow and then by the end of the week, and I think Kevin will update you on that, but looking good. Looking forward to getting those courts redone. Soon we will be advertising for our spring break story time. Come out to her cabin on Tuesday, April 1st and Thursday, April 3rd for an hour-long story time and craft, and be partnering with amazing princess parties for this event. Each story time will feature a live character. We also had a 5K on Saturday and pretty good turnout for that. So that's all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? From the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Engineering Department. Kim McCulloch.
Thank you very much. Good evening. An engineering report for February 24th. Hard to believe we're almost to the end of the month, but here we are. Regional drainage conveyance project. I just want to bring that up and give you an update. It's kind of been in a stale situation for a while. We've gotten a recent request from CSX. We're required to submit construction cost estimating to them, and it has to be based on historical data of construction within the state of Indiana. The problem is there's not a lot of public projects that do 54-inch jack and bores underneath the railroad tracks. So we're working with we've reached out to some contractors that specialize in that kind of work, and hopefully they have a comparable project in the state of Indiana that they can provide us data so that we can get that back to CSX and hopefully finish up that project. Because that's all we're basically arguing now is over the cost of the project and the reimbursables associated with it. So I'm hopeful that we'll wrap that up shortly. Regional detention. This is a project on that long list of projects to be funded, but I do now have a proposal from Christopher Burke for $124,700 to take us all the way through final design, permitting, and construction documents, bidding, all those services related to that, to the soft side of the project. Keep in mind the construction is probably in the $3 million range. But I do have that proposal now that we can start rolling into our conversations about potential funding of projects. Chadwick Ditch, I know we talked about that at the council meeting last time. I am working on getting proposals. I do not have final proposals to share with anybody, but I've reached back out to Banning to get an update to their existing proposal, adding in the sump and drainage line investigations and mitigations, as well as submitted a request for proposals to Christopher Burke and JQOL so they can quote that project for us. Grant Street Phase 2. We now have received our proposal for the construction engineering, or better known as inspection of the project, from Crossroad Engineers. We'll be reviewing this over the next couple of days and hopefully finalizing this contract in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But the proposal was for, it currently sits at $383,400. But that was part of a funding request that went through at the last meetings on the 10th. Elizaville Road, we still got some driveway concrete repairs and replacements to do out there. We're beginning to target that as we're getting into spring, and the warmer weather is getting us itching to start construction. I don't think we'll be starting anything until 1st of April, though, just to make sure that the S word is out of the way, and along with the salt that comes with it. Fordyce Street, also getting ready to get things geared up again there. Working with our friends at Lebanon Utilities on a hydrant relocation and the removal of a couple of old utility light poles, and trying to wrap those things up in mid-March as they get ready to come back on site for construction. Noble Street should be seeing survey work move forward in the month of March and finalized in the month of March. Should see stage 1 plans wrapping up probably in July as we move that project into the design phases. Let's talk about some of the 180 makeover program projects downtown. Oaks on Main, we had a successful road closure yesterday, Sunday the 23rd. They closed Main Street for a couple of hours, partially closed really, as they lifted their HVAC equipment with cranes up onto the roof. That went off without a hitch and without any incident, and we're glad that's out of the way and behind us. The Lido and Collier's Corner projects, basically Zach Burge is putting together RFQs for those quote packages right now as we speak. We have final construction documents, and we hope to get those out later this week and be having proposals in front of you at a future meeting here shortly. Park projects, the only real update right now is the Beck Street demolition at 1313 South Beck Street. Our asbestos inventory came back. I think there was some additional testing needed on some window glazing and some tile in the house. As soon as we get that back, we'll be putting that information in the hands of the contractor to move forward with the demolition and disposal of those materials. Pickleball court construction is gearing up. In fact, demolition of fencing is scheduled to start later this week. Let's see, Big Four Trailhead over on Sam Ralston Road. They're just putting the finishing touches on the portalet enclosure. Really, the fencing went up last week, and as I mentioned, they should complete that project this week, and then be moving on to the enclosures at Admiral Longley Park, at the dog park, and Hot Pond to be completed in the next week or so. Fire department projects. Happy to report we have new budgets in on the new fire station at just under $8 million. And we're excited to move that project forward, making recommendations at the city council meeting later in the evening to move that BOT process forward per the statutory process. And then the 2025 resurfacing program for DPW. Pre-con was held last week on the 18th. Concrete work is scheduled to begin the next 2 to 3 weeks, and they'll be moving that forward. Then last but certainly not least, out in the LEAP district, at least the north part of the LEAP district, we do have word now that CSX is scheduled to be on site March 6th to complete the crossing arm installations on 375 North and 450 North. That's all the updates I have.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next will be Planning Department. Christy Spencer.
Ivan is out of the city this week. He went to the U of I conference in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm here for the planning office.
I don't have that in Atlanta, Indiana. No? Okay.
I think that's more Georgia. Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
Georgia. Yeah. So since the last meeting, we had 105 inspections, 34 building permits, 2 of those are single-family home permits. It's slowed down a bit with the weather, but we're still moving forward. They had 175 code enforcement activities and 622 new complaint investigations for the office. So a lot of those, over 500, were for snow and ice removal. So we're very happy it's 50 degrees today. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Any questions for Christy from the board? From the public? You're good. All right, Public Works Department, Scott Calvert.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, we've had 3 snow events that you're aware of. We used 315 tons of salt treating the roads. We've placed 7 tons of cold mix filling potholes. 3 of them went in today while we had the warmer weather. I just want to make a little public announcement that we do not plow or fill potholes on 32, 39, or I-65. It's for our Facebook friends there. Stormwater, they responded to 255 utility locates, and they assisted with the plowing and salting. And we're inspecting structures prior to our summer paving getting ready to kick off. Other department news, Adams Electric will be installing the new crosswalk controllers at Camp Street next week. So we'll finally get that back going. And then the 2025 limb and brush schedule will be ready for the March meeting. So get that schedule out there. The inspection department, we had 4 SWIP inspections, 5 right-of-way inspections, responded to 2 complaints. And for those keeping track of, the Beaver Dam was drilled out on Friday. So hopefully with the warmer weather, we'll get the trapper out there and that will cease to be a problem. That's
Very
all
good.
I've got.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Scott?
One question.
Dick?
I realize we don't patch the holes on the state routes, but if you do go to call, I do hope you pass that on to NDOT.
Of course, of
Thank you.
course. We've got that big hole on Patterson. We let them know last week, so. Or we've got
There
that.
was one, was right out here on 39 out there the other day I called about. So
Call them in and we'll either
that's a work.
patch them or pass it on. Exactly.
Any questions for Scott from the board? Public? Thank you, sir.
You.
All right, and last but not least, Communications and Community Development, Joe LePage.
Thank you, sir. Beginning with an invitation this evening from the Communications Department. The 2024 Eclipse 1 Year Later celebration is going to be held on Tuesday, April 8th at precisely 3:08 p.m. at the Lebanon Public Library, specifically in the Ralph W. Stark Heritage Center. We'll have the time capsule dedication and a brief celebration there. Refreshments and a small ceremony will be held. We're going to recap this once-in-a-lifetime event and also put the time capsule on display before it goes kind of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of wheels back into the back catacombs in the Heritage Center, where it'll be stored until 800 or so years from now to be able to be opened and unveiled for the next total eclipse in our community. Also, our creative community, the Communications Department has been working with the Lebanon Arts Council in some of its 2025 programming. A Lego event is in the works. It will be held at the library as well. It'll be an organizational fundraiser for that organization. Also a way to flesh out some area creatives as well. More of the details will be unveiled at a later date. Also, the Lebanon Story Booth. A brief update on that. ATP Welding did a magnificent job completing that booth. It looks phenomenal, fully restored. It is at the new DPW office, and so appreciate the guys being willing to clear some space in there to be able to house that for us briefly. It will be see-through wrapped. We have an artist working with us. The see-through will be there for safety and also security concerns, so you can go in and share your story in the story booth, but also be able to be seen just in case. And so both that booth and the rest of the supporting materials will be unveiled during this year's Boone County Summerfest event, and that is going to take place on May 30th and 31st downtown.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board?
I want to know, Joe, that April 8th Eclipse event, is this going to be called Get Mooned and Boone too, or what?
Hey, that sounds like a fun title. We'll have some giveaways there as well, but maybe we'll show you some of the logos that didn't make the final cut. They are tongue-in-cheek, kind of funny there.
What was the time of that, Joe?
3:08 p.m.,
3:08, okay.
coinciding with the eclipse from 2024. So it's
Joe, where you going to store it at? The time capsule.
within the library's Heritage Center, and so it will be on display there for all to see.
Yeah.
But then after a few months, they will take it and store it safely back, keep record of it. And if anything happens, we didn't want to bury it, obviously, and didn't want to have it where anybody would be able to get to it. And so it'll be under historical record, just in case something happens to the library. It'll go back to the property of the city, but it will be stored there with a lot of different other artifacts they have there safely stored as well.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. I don't have anything on my agenda. Anything from the board? Okay. New business then. First item up here is a professional services agreement with Document Mountain. This is for planning document scanning services. Christy?
Yes, so we have been for a long time trying to find a good way to scan in our historical documents. That's permits, Board of Zoning Appeals, Plan Commission documents, so that it's searchable. So finally, we were presented with a company who came into the office and solicited. They have a great document storage program. They scan it for us and they store it for us. So I'm just presenting you with the contract tonight for them to be able to do that. They kind of had to assume how many sheets of paper that they would be scanning, so they estimated high. So I have a feeling that it will not reach the total dollar amount, but we are asking for that as well tonight.
So we're asking for the funding though from the council, correct? So this is
Yes.
this would be contingent upon council approval
Correct.
for it. So this actually, frankly, has been on my to-do wish list for the planning department for a while. We have tons of filing cabinets that are there, and so I
As
think
we've moved into this building, we have moved those about 10 filing cabinets 4 times. So it's time that we make a more permanent solution.
is how far back do our documents go that we have?
Well, they do go back to the 90s, but I would say the majority of them start 2000 and then on, so.
All right, any questions from the board on that? I'd say I would make the approval contingent upon final legal review as well as funding approval by the council for the project. So with that, is there a motion concerning the professional services agreement with Document Mountain?
I'll make the motion, we approve the document services agreement, subject to legal review and an approval, and then signature by the mayor and approval by.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. I do want to tell the Board of Works as well and other department heads listening, the planning department is going to be kind of the guinea pig on this. So we'll see how this goes, but there's certainly are other departments that have lots of records that would be probably valuable for us to try to digitize them as well. So if all goes well with the planning department, we hope to kind of replicate this with the other departments as well too. So,
Do we know what kind of firewall they have as far as protecting all that data?
I didn't speak to them directly, but I know it's all the backup secured and all that type of stuff but also these are all public access Chris, if you want to, I don't speaking, but it's.
They did explain that to me. I am not an IT person,
Okay.
but they do have 2 backup firewalls. And so it seemed secure, but it is all public information as well.
Okay.
So it's nothing that has private information that we would not share with the public.
Right,
Yeah,
that's fine. That's my question.
these are all public records. There's
They're all
no.
public records.
So someone can come in and request them anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess if the hackers want to find it, then they can
They
have
can have it.
Right.
nerd out on our planning documents, I
Right.
guess. So, yeah.
Good job, Chris.
I do know one of the benefits to this company was the fact that you could like word search,
Right.
which
So
we've
you
had
could type in
trouble
an
with
address or
before.
name. Yeah.
Right, you can put in an address and it'll go to it, where we've talked to a lot of companies between planning and our office that, you you couldn't really find it. So this is an added bonus.
Well, and it's also searchable by handwriting as well, too.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
even
and
that,
actually,
so.
and it's a very nice scanning document. There's no lines, or it looks really good. Totally readable. It's really great.
Thank you, Christy. Appreciate it. All right, next item up, we have a surplus item request from the Lebanon Fire Department concerning our fire truck, the Top Kick GMC.
Good evening. We are requesting the surplus of a year 2000 GMC Top Kick. Mr. Stoner has prepared the documents. This will be sold through Enterprise Rental, and the funds that we make from the sale of this truck will help augment the purchase of Squad 213.
All the forms have been filled out. I've talked to Enterprise. We'll make arrangements to move the vehicle to the auction lot.
Any questions, concerns from the board? Yeah, just to clarify too, this isn't a trade-in situation. This is just Enterprise taking it to auction for us and selling it. So it's not like we're applying this to a new vehicle, just to
That's
clarify to everybody. So we're, sure that's clear. So if you want to buy an old fire truck, I guess you can go track the auction block, right? Okay, with that, would entertain a motion concerning the surplus request for the 2000 GMC Top Kick.
I make a motion, we approve the surplus for the GMC Top Kick 2000.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next item up here is a surety release concerning Sunbrook Villa Section 2 and 3.
Thank you. Let's just talk about these next two items sort of together.
Estimate it could be lower.
Well, we have a Sunbrook Villas sections 2 and 3, and then we have Sunbrook section 3. And both of these are requests to release performance bonds and replace them with the appropriate maintenance sureties. So in Sunbrook Villas section 2, we have a performance bond for $9,143.75 for the HMA asphalt path. And then in Sunbrook Villas Section 3, we have a performance bond in the amount of $60,090 for asphalt surface on the streets. And then in Sunbrook Section 3, we have another performance bond for $84,843.13, again, for the asphalt street surface. So again, all three of these performance sureties they're requesting to release these and replace them with maintenance sureties that will last for the next 3 years.
Questions on that from the board? Okay, we'll entertain a motion then to, you want these as separate motions, Tanya, or I think all be one's fine? Okay. Entertain a motion then to release the surety bonds as presented for Sunbrook Villa Section 2 and 3, as well as Sunbrook Section 3.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
Motion approved as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's item C and D. And then finally here, we have quote authorization for the 180 makeover program, the Collier's Corner Lido Building / Eichmann Exchange. Kevin.
Thank you very much. I mentioned these in my reports as as the development agreements are now all in place for all three projects. We have construction plans in place now for Collier's Corner and the Lido Building, and the Eichmann Exchange project is just a short distance behind those two. And since they're all of similar scopes and associated with the same master developer, we're just gonna go ahead and ask for your authorization to seek quotes for the appropriate scopes of those projects in association with the 180 makeover program.
I just have a question, kind of a general overview of what's involved in terms of the program here. What will they be doing?
Absolutely. Let me, let's see. Let's take Collier's Corner first of all. And so Collier's Corner, we're talking about a facade restoration. All three of these projects involve full facade restorations, reestablishment of the first floor commercial space, and then reworking of the upper floors for residential spaces. The total budget for Collier's Corner is $698,000. And then there is a ready fund budget of $149,000. And the $149,000 is divided up as follows: $54,000 towards storefronts. Those would be the commercial first floor storefront windows and entry doors. And then also on the entire building would be $95,000 for electrical. So that's $54,000 for storefronts, $94,000 for electrical systems. That totals $149,000 in ready funds. So I guess a quick back up a bit. So the ready money is federal aid money that is being channeled through the state, through the IEDC and the MPO, and then that money is allocated to us as the only entity allowed to receive those federal monies that will then be distributed to the local private individuals that are redeveloping these projects. So on Collier's Corner, again, $54,000 for storefront windows and doors and $95,000 for electrical systems. The Lido is a pretty similar scope. Let me get to that page of the contract. So again, $698,000 overall budget, $149,000 in ready funds, and that includes $44,000 towards storefront windows and doors, $80,000 towards the electrical system, and $25,000 for plumbing. So that is Lido, $44,000 for storefront windows and doors, $80,000 electrical, $25,000 plumbing for $149,000 total grant. And then the last one is the Eichmann Exchange project. Again, same program. This one has a bit of a larger budget. The total budget on this project is $2,254,902. And there is $150,000 of ready funds allocated to the project. And that is for $110,000 for masonry repairs, tuck pointing, and $40,000 for doors and windows. So again, what we will do as a city is we will be the ones that would receive this money. And because we are receiving the money, we will also be the contract holders for these scopes of work. Because these are all believed to be below the $150,000 threshold, we will just be doing invited quote situations with these, requiring those quote respondents to work with the owner of the building and the general contractor of the building. The contractor, though, will be held with the city. When we receive those invoices, we submit those to the MPO. The MPO wires that money to the city, and then we distribute it to the contractor, provided, the checks and balances to ensure the work that they did matches what they're billing us for. So those are the three projects. And so all I'm doing here is that I have to be authorized by the contracting body of the city to go out and seek quotes and enter into contracts. So those quotes will come back to you for presentations and recommendations, but I do need your authorization to seek quotes.
Yeah, and just to clarify, right, so these are federal funds coming to us as part of the READY grant program through the state, and then our 180 Alliance, which is the group we were in for the READY Phase 1, READY Round 1. Part of that was kind of facade restoration, downtown revitalization, and so that got funded by the IEDC to a certain amount, and that gets distributed. So then so again, this isn't city tax dollars, it's federal dollars, but we have to hold the contract because it's federal monies and all that type of stuff. So
I was just interested in the Eichmann building because I don't know what you call it, the facade or whatever that's on the west side of that building. Yeah. We had a problem up there, and they did some temporary trying to hold that up so it didn't fall on the street. And I would hope that somewhere in here, they're taking care of that, get it fixed the way
Yeah.
it should be.
The total project includes a full exterior facade restoration, all four sides, all three sides, including the roof system, as well as structural repairs. So all that will be fully restored. And I'm told on the Icon building, the interesting thing is there is no brick underneath the siding. At some point in its history, it was removed. So that will be also restored.
It's almost a complete redo of the building.
The
why it's a $2
building
million
has been
project.
incredibly compromised over the years. So it's great that it's great that the feds, the MPO, us, and the developers involved, the RDC is involved, was able to come together and save these really critical pieces of our downtown.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Kevin on this? Okay, then we'll entertain a motion then to authorize quotes for the 180 makeover program for Collier's Corner, the Lido Building, and the Eichmann Exchange. Is there a motion to
I make a motion that we
authorize quotes?
authorize the 180 makeover program for the Collier, Lido, and Eichmann Exchange Building as presented.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. Thank you, board. All right, that concludes what I have for new business. Anything from the board? Okay, move on to claims. Would you entertain a motion concerning the claims?
Make a motion we approve the claims.
Claims, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. And then when, any announcements or discussion from the board? Okay, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, our next Board of Works meeting will be Monday, March 10th at 5:30 PM. The city council is up next, and we are adjourned.